Good evening. Well, apologies, I missed out last week. Steve filled in very nicely. I was a little bit preoccupied. So, let's get into it and talk about what's happened the last 7 days. Well, Tuesday, we had a southerly change push up the east coast of the South Island, and then it hit the lower North Island last week. So going back a while ago, Wednesday, Thursday last week, I was talking to Steve about how there was a change moving through Canterbury in the morning, but what we were worried about is it was a little bit too early in the morning, and you know, will storms happen? But even though the change did go through in the morning, there was just enough heating before it and storms triggered. So Timaru, you got massive amounts of hail. I believe Ashburton did. Where I'm based, I just got some heavy rain, but Christchurch and then parts of North Canterbury, plenty of heavy rain, hail and thunder, lightning obviously as well. And then the change ripped through Wellington during the course of the afternoon, sort of like late afternoon. Man, there was some strong winds involved there. I believe there was some hail and lightning as well. So the next 7 days ahead are not looking as exciting, but nonetheless we'll get into it. So on Friday, tomorrow, in the afternoon, there is a front there heading over the South Island, but you're out of luck. I just put it in there anyway. There is some rain moving up along the west coast, but no thunder. Okay, let's go forward. On to Sunday. This front here is pushing over the South Island. Now this map is for 10 a.m. in the morning, because that's the only chance I really see. Southwest on Fjordland, a little bit of instability there perhaps. As the front moves northwards, the instability drops out a little bit. But however, things could advance as we get closer to Sunday. You never know, that lightning could travel a little further northwards. That's if it does occur. So, on to Monday, where the front here moves over the North Island, but high pressure comes in behind and it sort of strangles it. And the weather more or less looks like it's actually settling down quite a lot. The upper air temperatures are very warm. That's not conducive to thunderstorms. We've got showers here popping up about the ranges of Bulla. A little bit of lower level instability there perhaps, so it'll be warm at least, really nice. And I'm going to go down memory lane in a second, because this situation sort of reminds me of what I'm about to show you. So we'll get into that in a second. But these showers here, yeah, they'll pop up about the ranges of Bulla. A bit of low level instability. Thunder, probably not as likely. And there's our front there. It has weakened quite a lot, but there's a bit of moisture there. In fact, Northland, the dew point temperatures, that's a measure of moisture, are sort of up in the high teens, may even hit like 20 degrees. Those sort of dew points are what you expect on the east coast of Australia, sort of almost like tropical feeling. But that is going to lead to some heavy isolated showers about the upper North Island. Once again, generally speaking, it's some lower level instability, so I don't think clouds are going to grow too tall. However, Northland, perhaps you're in with a whisker of a chance of some thunder. Then we move to Wednesday, so a bit of moisture for the upper North Island there, a few showers popping up in the afternoon. Perhaps there could be a rumble or two in here. The instability, once again, is lower down, at least in the first half of the atmosphere. When I say the first half of the atmosphere, I mean the bottom sort of like 3 to 4 kilometres. Once you get up above that, it starts to get a bit more stable. We have that front there, moving into the lower South Island, bring some rain to the southwestern corner, sort of late afternoon, evening on Wednesday. But I'm not seeing a heck of a lot with that at the moment. So let's go down memory lane. I was looking through some old photos, and I remember this trip here. Actually, to be honest, I didn't take any great photos, but for some reason it sticks in my mind. It was just like a cool wee adventure to go on. I was up in the Molesworth area, so 15th of January 2021. There's my cameras there. I've got a 5D Mark II. It's a bit old now, but it still goes, so I still use it. Why not? Got a lightning trigger on the top there, and that's my video camera. I was filming in the skies there. It was pretty drab looking, to be honest, but there were a few flashes of lightning at times. And the main sort of thing that sticks in my head with this chase was it was like quite warm. Especially in like the Hamner area, the Muri Basin area, as I travelled up here. I think this day, the upper air temperatures were really warm, but there was like enough surface moisture, and the elevation of the Molesworth station area it just provided that instability, and a storm popped up. It was quite massive looking on satellite imagery from memory. So the next photo there, yeah, just some dramatic clouds. I remember that sky, it was like just rumbling, but you didn't see much lightning. Just occasionally you'd see a bit of lightning jet through the sky, but mostly it was just rumbling, and it was really interesting being in the hills because like I think the thunder was like bouncing around and echoing, so you just heard this constant sort of like rumbling. And then I went further into the Molesworth. Like I nearly got halfway through the damn thing in my van, but I got to a point where there were some like fords and I couldn't really get through. But I thought I saw snow in the distance, and it wasn't snow, it was just hail coating the ground. So it was quite surprising because, yeah, the upper air temperatures were really warm, but yeah, some hail did form. The instability must have just kept hail, well, it must have been strong enough to let hail form, put it that way. So yeah, there was some hail. That was quite cool. And actually at this point, it was weird because it was like a really warm day, but up at that higher elevation and where that hail fell, it actually all of a sudden like felt quite cold. And yeah, this is like up on the Molesworth. That there is actually like mushy brown hail, and there was heaps of it. There must have been like a big hail swathe that moved through. So that was like a really cool day. I remember afterwards I went down into Hamner and I had some like fish and chips at that picnic table there in front of that log cabin. I think it's called the log cabin. It's like a dairy or something. And it was really warm, and I don't know, it was just a nice memory. I was just by myself, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, that's why you do this stuff, go chasing thunderstorms and all that, to build the memory bank, yeah. But like Wire, Hamner Springs, when you get big anticyclones in summer, if in Christchurch or Canterbury, well like coastal Canterbury, you've got that easterly or northeasterly ripping through, sometimes you can go over the hills there and it's just warm and the winds are light, and it can be real nice late into the night. The same goes for like the Mackenzie country area. Anyway, I digress. I found another memory. It was a storm I chased. 26th of October 2017. I've got an old Mustang, and I remember at the time, I've got a couple of other cars. I like cars. So that was the only one that I had like a lot of fuel in the tank, and we saw this change coming up. I lived deep in the countryside when I did this, up near Mount Somers there, and yeah, this front was moving through. In the models, it didn't really look like anything was going to happen, but man, it just brewed up, and I shot out in this thing. I was hoping to get like a fork of lightning flash out with the car in the frame. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. I just got these like areas of sheet lightning in the sky. Interesting fact, sheet lightning is always like, you know, it's always actually jaggedy sort of like forked sort of lightning, if that makes sense. But it's up in the clouds, so all you get is that diffused flash. So that's what sheet lightning is. It's actually proper lightning, but it's all up in the clouds, so you don't really see the forks. Anyway, I used my cell phone to illuminate the car. I was hoping to get a real cool shot. It's still pretty cool, but it wasn't exactly what I was after. Anyway, we will move on. I've got a busy 4 days ahead. Shout out to the girls at the Leaston Coffee Company. They keep me fueled up nearly every day. Not nearly every day, but quite close. I'm going to get a coffee, and I'm going to get stuck into a lot of gardening. So we'll catch you Thursday again next week.
Severe thunderstorm, large hail has been forecast. Storm moving northwards on the Canberra Plains towards Edgeworth.